Let's go, the show is on.
Now we welcome Terrence and Kathy Richburg, a power couple whose passion bubbles over when talking about their love, music, and other projects.
Why don't we talk about how you two met? Kathy, why don't you start off?
Well, we've known each other for a great portion of our lives. We were involved in music theater. He played instruments in the pit, and I was usually on stage. We were cordial in passing, just saying hello. And then we met up at a church musicians dinner where he was the keynote speaker, and I was with another group singing there. After he spoke, I was kind of inspired, so I took his business card and decided I would talk to him later, perhaps about a project for myself.
Okay. Terrence, what's your story?
Well, that's pretty much it. I will say, though, that, you know, when we met up again and we actually had the meeting, which was in February, it was actually February 15th, about the project. I really got to know Kathy. I hadn't really known her that well, you know. But when you start to talk about music, then you start to talk about other things in life and just, you know, relationships and that kind of thing. So I got a chance to really know who she was and what was going on in her life and that kind of thing.
When did you two get married?
We got married on September 17th,
2011.
Right.
Terrence made sure he was looking at me. Like, I know my date. That's phenomenal. Now, not only do you have your passion for each other and in your relationship, but you also use that passion towards your music. So you two sing together.
Yes.
Terrence, tell us about your music.
Well, one of the things in our wedding, we actually did some music together. We did a duet. And Kathy left all the music to me for the wedding, so I kind of went overboard writing songs, and a lot of the songs were just about relationships and, you know, about the whole aspect of true love. And so that's kind of where we're starting, because in terms of the book that I wrote, Intimacy, and the CD that's along with it, it talks about relationships and love. So we're kind of starting off in that realm of that project where we're singing together. So it's great to sing with Kathy, especially in the studio.
It's great to sing with your true love, period.
Yeah.
Right?
It is. I always call it my heaven on earth.
Wow.
And today, I promise to say I love you. No way I could love you more, but I'll find a way.
I Promise Love is a very beautiful song.
I mean, if you want to talk, I'll tell a little bit about the song.
Yeah. What is the mindset behind that song?
Actually, I wrote that song when I was getting ready to propose to Kathy. And
go on, girl, you got a proposal song.
That's great.
And the interesting thing about it, you know, after I proposed to her, then I sang the song to her. And I just thought that the song kind of explained, you know, how my feelings were for her. I wanted to assure her how much I loved her. And so as we started planning for the wedding, you know, I kind of thought about it as a song that we could do as a duet.
Wow.
So it's pretty special to us.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Of course, I cried when he first presented the song to me.
Yeah. Now let's talk about
So
the next
sweet.
song too. What's the name of that one?
Wherever Love.
Wherever Love.
Yeah.
Wherever I am now, wherever I would have been.
What was the thinking behind that one as well?
When I wrote that song, specifically, it was a song for Kathy's wedding march. And it's kind of interesting because originally when I wrote the song, I kind of let her hear a little bit of it, but then I said, well, as a wedding march, it needs to have a fanfare. So then I wrote a fanfare for it to start off.
Wow.
And it just kind of took it on a life of its own, became a production. And so the song really is just talking about wherever we are, you know, love is.
Do you think that the music between you two is just as strong as the love between you two?
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah. Do you like wake up singing to each other? I mean, you know, I don't know. When you have two songbirds and songwriters, I just assume, you know.
My morning voice
Good
is
morning,
bass.
baby. I mean, I don't know. You tell me.
No,
It's kind of interesting, in a house where there's a piano, it might break out at any time as far as music goes. So I might just sit down at the piano and start playing, and then all of a sudden we'll start singing a song together.
Wow.
right. He really inspires me. And I'd say it probably happens more in the evening when we get home from work.
Hey now.
Yes.
Let's move on. Well, you guys are not only writing music, you're not only in love, but you're starting a new chapter for yourselves, and no pun intended, with a book. That was pretty good.
That's pretty cool. I like that.
Thank you, God. All right, so let's talk about intimacy, missing piece in the puzzle of true love and close relationships. Such a very I don't want to say a heavy topic, but a topic that I think has depth to it. Yeah. I looked at your chapters, Terrence, and we go all the way to chapter, 44, 45? Yeah. We got a long way to go in this book. So you have some things that you ultimately want to break down in intimacy and relationships. And, we all have had past experiences as well in love and relationships. So using your past, do you have that inspire you in writing this book as well?
Yeah, actually, my parents, who had a great relationship.
And when do you mean by great relationship? Just
in other words, they modeled before me a relationship that was based on, first of all, a love for the Lord, and then their love for each other was so real. It was about, it wasn't anything where, in some family settings, the children sort of kind of take predominance. But in their case, which is the way it's supposed to be, their relationship took predominance. And then based on that, we were able to see what it looks like when a man loves a woman and a woman loves a man. And so it was really inspiring to me to kind of reflect on it later, just to see, okay, that really has a lot to do with how I feel about relationships and how I want to be in the relationships that I have. Not only in terms of a love relationship, but also relationships with family and friends, which are all important and which are all really gifts that God has given to us.
Yeah. So you take that same passion that your parents have and you kind of look at intimacy from what perspective?
I look at it from a real life perspective. Like, for instance, one of the things that I said in terms of getting married was that I wanted to make sure that I would be the best husband that I could be to Kathy. There was nothing that I wanted to lack in terms of giving her my heart, giving her my time, making sure that I made her feel and understand that she was a priority in my life. And I think that's one thing that's missing in a lot of relationships these days, is that people put things and goals and even responsibilities ahead of their relationship. And I just wanted to make sure that she understood and felt that from me.
Yeah.
And believe me, he practices what he preaches.
Good.
It's true.
Good. That's awesome. So when we say the word intimacy, Terrence and Kathy, we sometimes tense up at that word because sometimes in the church it might seem like, oh, we can't say that word, right. Because, of the connotation that intimacy has. A lot of us go straight to the bedroom when we're talking about intimacy. Right. But intimacy is not just the love expressed in the bedroom between man and woman and husband and wife, but it's more than that. Is that what you're saying, Terrence, in the book?
Yeah, what I'm saying is that really, if you want to talk about what happens in the closest relationship, as far as intimacy goes in the bedroom, that's really just the fruition of what comes before. And so what I found that intimacy really means understanding a person, getting inside of who they are, empathizing with who they are, getting to know what makes them tick, getting to resonate with them spiritually. And so once you go to all those areas of the relationship, it really will excite everything else.
And yes. Yes, it will excite you. Okay. Well, moving on. It's a little intimate up in here. Before you two, started courting and got together, where were you in love itself? Individually, where were you two?
Well, I was not thinking about love.
Me neither.
Okay. Okay.
The dinner that we had was fun, talking about, our experiences. It was really funny, and bubbly. But I actually told him that I thought that God had to send me a really, really big sign if I were to marry, fall in love and get married again.
Yeah.
Okay, so
this is love
brother. Again then. This is love again, and Kathy said, Lord, I need a sign. So what was the sign? Did he send you a sign?
Actually, he did. One night when we were going out, I decided to go out to dinner with him. When we came back, there was this huge, moth butterfly looking thing. Yeah. And it flew around his head about 3 times and landed in front of his feet. I was like, what? And we looked at each other. I was like, is that a sign?
And when was this? What time of year?
It was, I guess, around June or July.
Yeah.
It was in the summer. I'd never seen anything like it before nor since. It was huge.
Wow, Terrence, a nice sign, right?
Yeah.
It was beautiful, though.
Yeah. When we're talking about love again, and a fresh start in a whole new relationship, that can sometimes be difficult for a lot of people. There might even have people looking at us right now saying, look, been there, done that, shut down city, for real.
Right.
Not going to happen again. There's no hope. But you two, when I look at you, I see that there is this hope that springs forth that's just like, you know what, done with the past. It was what it was. Now God has blessed us with a future. What does that feel like?
Well, for me, it feels incredible because I think, you pray and you ask God to really just kind of guide your life and show you where he wants you to go. And I think when you don't put any boundaries around God, you don't put God in a box, then he's able to really show you what he could do. And I think in our situation, he brought us to a place of real love and true love for each other that actually neither one of us had really experienced before.
A lot of folks, we always hear, especially on the radio, on television, wherever, magazines, newspapers, about the bitterness that follows us sometimes from one relationship to the next. Have you two experienced that? And if not, where did the bitterness go? How did you release that? There are a lot of questions that I'm sure a lot of folks have right now. Like, you guys just look so wonderful. Where did the baggage go,
Well, I just had to let go, pray to God, and release everything into his capable hands.
Yeah, I think one of the things is forgiving others, forgiving people in your life, forgiving yourself, and really just kind of locking into what God's pace is for you, what his timing is for you. And so baggage is interesting. It's just kind of going around in the baggage claim. I decided not to pick it up.
Right.
Yes, that's a very good way of putting it. And I think that what you're saying, both of you are saying, is that you found healing in God, that you allowed God to heal you from former hurt, pain, disappointment, all of that. And we can't say we haven't, of course, had our share of being the one to hurt and disappoint and be in the pain. But you allow God to fill that place. And do you think now he's blessed you in having a whole new chapter?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We both prayed a lot. I mean, we just prayed, and we had some very specific things that we asked God for, and God answered our prayers. That's basically what happened. God answered our prayers, and I think as a result, not only did we find our relationship exciting, but even our relationship with God was even more exciting to really see how intimate he was with us, to know, he pays attention to our needs and exactly what we're feeling.
Yeah.
It was an amazing experience.
So how can you encourage folks out there who have come from brokenness, either broken relationships, broken hearts, broken mindsets? How can you now, being through, like Shaka Khan says, through the fire?
Interestingly enough, that was our first dance song at our wedding.
That was right. Oh, wow.
Wow. Well, you know, how can you encourage people then, taking your past, knowing what it was, but allowing God to change that? How can you help them realize that they can have the joy and the hope that you two now experience?
Well, prayer. And you have to believe and trust God, because that's where it is, your faith, belief in God. And also ask him about your mate and wait for an answer.
I think critical. One other thing is not letting other people define what your future should be like. Everyone has an opinion. Everyone has a truth. Everyone has certain things that they believe. And I think that when you really pay attention to where God is taking you, where he is leading you, it makes a big difference. So in some ways, you should have tunnel vision to really just follow God and where he's leading you. But also, a very dear friend of mine told me to keep my eyes open. And so I kept my eyes open so that I could see that there was someone for me.
Because I think in the midst of it all, we can kind of close our eyes and shut down and say, love never again. You know, been there, done that, not opening myself up for hurt again. But if you had done that, look at the blessing that you probably would not have received. You know, so we're excited and thankful that you came by the Tameka Harris Show to share not only your passion for each other, but your passion for your music as well as your book. So thank you so very much for coming by.
Thank you for having us.
Want to be a guest on the Tameka Harris Show? Log on to our website and submit your information at TamekaHarrisLive.com.
I'd like to thank all of our guests for joining me on the Tameka Harris Show: Catherine Trotter, TRACI TAYLOR, and Terrence and Kathy Richburg. I also would like to thank Femar Long of Peace and a Cup of Joe for their outstanding hospitality. Until next time, thanks for watching.
Tameka.